Okay, we'll get started. Welcome, everyone. Nazar asked me to fill in today. He is flying back from spring break with his kids. And I asked Robert if he would help me out a little bit today. So what we wanted to talk about today is being intentional. So we're going to dive right in. I wanted to share this little quote with you. Lack of direction, not lack of time, is the problem. We all have 24 hours in a day. What does that mean to you guys? Zoe.
Everybody has the same amount of time in the day. It just depends on how productive you are with your time and how intentional you are. Like if you have goals that you know that you need to hit for that day, like what are you doing to hit those particular goals as opposed to just, letting the day play itself out.
Okay, we can go ahead and log off. Zoe just took care of everything for us right now. Exactly what we're going to talk about. So what does being intentional mean to you guys? If I were asking you, what does intentional mean? Give me a definition.
Doing something on purpose.
Yeah, having a purpose.
Having a purpose. Awesome. Perfect. So what does it mean to be intentional then? Give me an example of being intentional.
I would say setting a task for productivity and actually doing it, or rather than just keeping busy.
Yep, exactly. So there is a huge difference between being intentional and being busy, right? So if I have a few things to share with you guys on ways that you can be intentional in your everyday things. So the first one is being deliberate with your day. Like Zoe said, and like Ryan just shared, it's when you're being very intentional with your time. So when you have a greater direction and purpose, you know exactly where to invest your time and your attention. So without that intentional focus for your day, you can feel like stuck and you waste time on non-productive activities or non-important activities. How many of you guys have been like, oh, I need to see, I want to see if somebody posted something, or I'm going to search for something real quick. And then you look down and all of a sudden it's a half an hour, 45 minutes later, and you've been sucked into something, right? I just got a new phone and I don't like it, and I updated my iOS. There is a focus button on there now that will limit your time on things. So you could go into your apps and be like, hey, I can only spend 1 hour a day in Instagram or this or that. So it's going to help you focus and help you be deliberate with your day so you're not wasting your time on non-productive things. So another way to be deliberate is to focus or set those goals or set that plan on what you're going to work on for the day, right? So I'm going to wake up. Sharice's not on here, but if you guys, Sharice's like me, where she's a list maker. And I know I have these things that I have to accomplish today, and I'm going to focus on the most important things and get those out of the way. So being more deliberate with your day, you can say, hey, I'm going to follow up with X amount of people today. Or a huge one, and this was kind of the catalyst of us focusing on this, is open houses, because we know that more and more of you are doing open houses. And on a Monday morning, what should you be doing? If you did an open house over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, what should you do Monday morning?
Following up.
What? Say that louder, Ryan.
Following up.
Following up, yeah. Follow up with those people that you met in your open house. Make that connection. Let them know, like, hey, Stephanie, we know that it was a super busy open house and we've got X amount of offers in. Were you still wanting to make an offer on that? You know, oh, you decided not to go. Well, then let's get you set up and find out what is our game plan for our next step. When are you available to meet so we can move forward? So being deliberate, planning that Monday morning, I'm going to follow up with my open house leads. I'm going to do, whatever it is that you have on that list of those 3 important things that you're going to do for that day. This one I think is very, very important. And a lot of us don't do this. And that's being clear with the result that you want. So when you're being intentional, you get clarity by putting measurable results. That's why we ask you, call and text and email through Follow Up Boss, because then we're able to see, Shauna made 50 calls. She had 25 conversations with those people. She now has 3 deals from those people that she followed up with. We're able to measure, and we can say, okay, now she's on her way to reach her goal of however many transactions she's had, because she's been very clear with what she wants. And I wanted Robert and Ryan to share with us their door knocking. Like, tell us, I love seeing your guys' Instagram. Yeah, wake.
I'm awake. I'm listening. I'm here.
No, you're good. So share with us like your plan on door knocking. Like actually, can you go back and share a little bit about your team and how you guys got to where I don't think people understand, like you guys weren't always in Newport Beach. Like share with a little bit, you can go into the door knocking, but share with your whole plan for Newport Beach and what you guys have done to get it there and be as successful as you guys are already.
So Ryan joined me about 5 years ago, and he was coming into the industry from the ground up. He didn't have any experience at all. He was just looking to align himself with an agent, and we met through a mutual friend. I'm the kind of guy that when things are working, I don't necessarily need to fix it. I fall into autopilot, right? And they always say like the scariest place to ever be in your life is your comfort zone, because if you're in your comfort zone, then you're just doing what works and you're not really doing anything to grow yourself. And as a human, we need growth. It's one of our 6 human needs. If we're not growing, you've heard it, we're dying. So Ryan came about a year ago and was like, dude, we have an awesome team. We have an awesome network. We have an awesome reputation. We have super strong systems. Why are we selling the homes that we're selling? Why aren't we selling $2 million homes, $5 million homes, $10 million homes, $20 million homes? Like, why aren't we doing it? And I just always had this self-limiting belief that just wasn't my world, and that I just sell homes that are priced between 800,000 and 1.5 million. And over time, as the market grows, I'll grow and give myself a raise. But like, that's not my world. And that was Ryan's world. That's really what he wanted. So that kind of snowballed into a conversation that snowballed into a bunch of things that had happened to now fast forward. In less than a year from when he brought it up, we're now in Newport Beach, and we've completely changed our model, our business model. So we still have everything that we used to do in Irvine. We still service those kinds of clients. We still stay in touch with those database, clients, and we still want to, that's our bread and butter. Like, we can't just leave and go, okay, now we're doing luxury, forget about everybody else. That's what pays the bills. But we've spent a ton of intentional time on the luxury aspect of the business because we want to grow. Yeah. And so that all started with us mailing to different neighborhoods. And then we started, I think we were just talking and we're like, look, we know eventually the mail is going to pick up. Eventually someone's going to call us. But we didn't want to wait. We didn't want eventually to happen, because that could be 2 years. And we didn't want to wait 2 years. So we started getting together and started putting together all these different things we could do to get in front of people. So like, one of them was an absentee owner campaign, which has been huge for us, right? So figuring out who owns properties in these areas, who has over 40% of equity in their property, who's lived there for X amount of years. Let's let them know how hot the market is. Maybe they want to sell. So that's been huge for us. We've sent out about 2,000 handwritten note cards. And we've got about 20 people that have raised their hands in the last 2 months, of which 2 to potentially 3 of them will transact in the next 1 to 12 months. So that's huge. They're getting our mail in 3 different areas. And we thought, what else can we do? So we started focusing on events. So we're working on events in the area. And then we're also working with schools, sponsoring those events. But one thing that we thought would not only get us in front of the people we want to get in front of faster, but also something that would push us out of our comfort zone, was door knocking. Yeah. And we had this ridiculous limiting belief that people that own $10 million properties would not have anything to do with us being on their front yard or knocking on their door. Like, we literally thought like the FBI would come and pick us up and be like, yo, you guys can't be here.
You guys should
And-
see some of the houses that they're door knocking. Like they're in these neighborhoods and I'm just like,
It's
man.
insane. Yeah.
And I'll just jump in real quick. The reason why it all came up is I did a transaction in Irvine with an agent who is on a luxury team in Newport Beach. And she was telling me how they door knock, multi-million-dollar, $10 million plus homes. And I'm like, you guys door knock those homes? Like, I didn't know that existed. I know you can get behind those gates. You know what I mean? Like we were like, it was a total limiting belief that like no one's gonna give you the time of day. So I told Robert, I was like, honestly, like, have you door knocked in a while? And he's like, I did it early on in my career, but like, I don't know how many years it's been. I was like, well, I've never done it. Let's start doing it, because what's a better way to like get in front of somebody, either get the door slammed in your face or have a great conversation one way or another.
Or something in the middle, right? You never know
right.
what you're going to get. That's
One
the
way or
coolest
another,
thing
you're
about
just
it.
reaching these people. And like, once we got over the fact that like, you're going to get people that talk shit to you and don't like you. And then there's going to be people that are going to talk to you. And honestly, I'd say like 85% of the people are like really nice and they actually have somewhat of a conversation, but it's all in your delivery and it's all in your approach. And that's kind of one other thing that we can maybe talk about too, on like what our approach is. It's not so salesy. And that's the thing, you have to come from a place of giving and like adding value and not being like, hey, do you want to sell your house? Because no one wants to hear that. you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you guys mind real quickly, like explaining what is your approach when you go and knock on a $10 million home or a $5 million home? Like, what do you say or what do you do or what do you take with you?
So I made a note here of like anything that is compelling is good enough, right? Like don't overthink it. So like if you've got a new listing coming in the area, it's a great opportunity to door knock, right? You're giving the sellers inside information. If you've got a recent sale, a closing, we actually had a call with our coach last week that said that most data in real estate is very transparent to the consumer, but the one time it's not transparent and the one time as agents, you hold information that no one else has.
Zillow, Redfin, all that, you can't get on
You
it.
can't get it is when the deal goes pending. When the deal goes pending, you know what the price is, you know what the terms are, and you can actually go out and now you have information that no one else in the world has except for the other buyer and the agents involved. Now you start telling the neighborhood like, yo, this is the inside scoop with what's going on. You could talk about market trends and off-market buyers. Also, like if you are looking for a home in an area with no inventory, great reason to knock on doors. We started with market trends. We started with, hey, we're out here, we're knocking on doors. We want to let you know what's going on and what you can expect in 2022. And literally almost every person, like this knee-jerk reaction says, we're not interested in selling, we're not going anywhere. Because they just want us to go away, right?
Yeah.
So we thought about it and we're like, okay, well, if everybody or most people are saying we're not interested in selling, what can we do? What can we come up with to where it's like a natural transition to the piece that we're bringing to them? And we literally created the piece that I talked to you all about last week. What else can Ryan and Robert do for you? So now when the seller says, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not selling my home, I love it here, we say, we know. Pretty much, we've been knocking on doors for the last 2 months and everyone says the same thing. They love it here, they don't ever want to sell. But we do so much more than just help people sell. As a homeowner, here are some things you can take advantage of that we offer at no charge. Take a look at the list. If you have any questions, please take us up on this. We just want an opportunity to earn your future business. And it creates conversations.
It
And
disarms the situation 100%. So they instantly, instead of trying to slam the door and say, we're not selling, leave us alone, they go, oh, okay. And they kind of glance at it. And then maybe it starts up a conversation. And it's very non-salesy. It's very non-pitchy. It's very, it's non-threatening. So they feel more inclined to want to have a conversation with you. And that coupled with obviously mailing and doing marketing and other things, it's just another layer. Like we don't go out with the expectations like, hey, we're going to get a $10 million listing appointment today, because you're going to be let down most of the time, right? Sure, there's 1 in a million times you might go out and that'll happen. But the point is just to get in front of people and have conversations and then mail to them as well, or do door hangers if you don't want to mail, and then do the events or do other things to get on the radar, because where we are in Newport Heights and Newport Beach, it's oversaturated. So everybody's doing it, but not everybody's knocking on doors and walking around. I'll tell you that much right now. So that's setting us apart on top of everything else that we're doing.
And the cool thing, and look, like you got to do what works for you. What works for us is the non-salesy approach. We've had people say like, oh, well, you're just out there wasting your time if you're not closing, if you're not asking for the business. Look, that's fine. Maybe we are, but for us to be able to wholeheartedly door knock consistently and feel good about it, it has to work with our vibe, because door knocking is tough. And even like literally, like I missed 1 week, I was out of town. And then when I came back into town, it had been 2 weeks since we door knocked. And I was like, I had the jitters. I was like, oh my God, today's gonna suck. And it wasn't, it was great. And so, and even today, and this is the crazy thing, because I was anti door knocking like 3-4 months ago. Even today, I was like, Ryan, I would love to incorporate another day of door knocking in the week. Right now, we door knock on Thursdays from 3 to 5, 3:30 to 5. But I was like, we have another farm that's right by our office. Why don't we door knock that from 3 to 5 on Mondays, so that we now are doubling our efforts? Because we're only door knocking for about an hour to an hour and a half. It's usually like 20 to 30 homes.
Yeah.
And I say only because I know we're capable of more, but
It's
I will tell you
consistency, the
this,
consistency.
like it's all about consistency. Like I would much rather everyone here say, I'm going to door knock 5 homes a day, every day, than say, I'm going to door knock,
50,
100 homes a
100,
month,
yeah.
and then miss a month and then feel like you have to play catch up. Right. So like, you got to pick a number that works for you, something that you can commit to, because that's the biggest battle, is committing. And so what we've done is we actually made, these are note cards, right? So RMG branded with 5, and on the back, we have our information now. So we have us. And so what's happening is that people get to see us when we knock on their doors. Before, we would just write a note card and put our business cards in it. But this isn't a business card scenario. Like this was a, hey, thanks for being so friendly. Thanks for opening the door. Thanks for chatting with us. If you need anything, we're always here to serve you. It's not really a business thing. It's really more of a personal follow-up. So we didn't want to
You
include
mail
business
those
cards
out afterwards?
Yeah, we mail them
afterwards.
out.
So we have a, there's software that I've been recommended to use called Knockwise, which apparently stores all the data of all the people you knock on their doors, and tells you where you ended up, and it tells you how long they've owned the property. Really cool stuff. Haven't done that yet. But as of now, we're using a Google spreadsheet, and basically like we'll knock on doors, and every time we have a noteworthy conversation, then I just put in there the person's name, the address, and then any notes that we have to remember. And then Christy knows after we door knock to go into tax records and fill out their full name, their mailing address, all that stuff. So we know, were we talking to a renter? Were we talking to the homeowner? Sometimes we don't know. And then we send them a handwritten note, basically that just says like, hey, thanks for being so cool. Thanks for, talking with us. If you ever need anything from the list we gave you, let us know. We're just here to serve, and we don't have any expectations. We're a phone call away kind of deal. And nothing has come from it yet, specifically from door knocking, but a few people have said it. Like a few people, one lady was like, oh, when we gave her the piece, she goes, oh, this logo looks familiar. Do you mail to us too?
Yeah.
And we said, yeah, we do mail to you. So here's the thing. Now that logo is extra familiar to her. So the next time she gets our mail, she may notice, and that may be the person that says, hey, I want you to list my $5 million property.
I met these guys. They were cool. They weren't selling me. They weren't pushing on me. And that could be the difference to set us apart to get a listing.
Yeah, and you were providing value, like you were
Right.
there to, give them something.
We're giving. We were just
instead.
giving. And that's what it's all about, just giving to
I
them.
love that. And I love like the intent, because you're building on things on it. Like you have, first we're doing this, then we're doing this, and then we can follow back up. Like it's just not like, oh, I'm going to door knock this day, then maybe this day or that day. And that brings to the next thing, is being purposeful with your time. Like you guys have it scheduled in. And like Robert was saying, he missed a week and he got the jitters going back into it. So it doesn't get easier if you are missing it. If you're just barely like, oh, I think I'll door knock this week. Well, it didn't go well, so I'm not going to do it again until next month. Like you have to be intentional and do it, build on it, because it gets easier the more you do it. Another thing with being intentional with your time is you have a clear structure for your day. Like you're establishing these routines. I'm getting up at X time, I'm doing exercise, I'm journaling, I'm doing my hour of power. There's a reason why coaches coach that you need to have a schedule, because if you don't, number one, if you're a new agent and you're just starting out, you could just be sitting there like, what do I do? What do I do next? I don't have clients. I don't have this. I don't have that. So you need to have that set up. And when you're an established, successful agent, your day has to be scheduled or it will just run away, right?
Yeah.
So being purposeful with your time is a great way to be intentional. Intentional people understand the importance of their time and look to achieve their goals in the simplest, easiest, and fastest way possible. To be intentional with your time, it's important to understand that certain priorities, relationships, and collaborations will help you achieve the results you want. Robert, to put you on the spot again, how many masterminds do you do in a week, or how many groups are you involved with, like collaborations? Look at
I've got
Yeah.
so I've got the Tom Ferry ecosystem, right? So I've got my weekly coaching call, and I've brought Ryan into that mix. It's helping me help take the information to the rest of the team, and it's another brain to collaborate with. I've got my own personal real estate mastermind that we connect with almost on a daily basis. I've got several accountability partners, Nazar being one of them, where we share gratitudes or intentions for the day. I'm part of a men's group, and I'm also part of an investors mastermind as well, because I'm just looking to elevate my character in all like worlds. And I feel like the more I learn the investor lingo, and it doesn't have to even be real estate investments, like building companies and operating agreements and things like that. It helps me connect better with the higher level real estate consumer too. Those people that have companies, that are running businesses, that work with private equity funds. I'm just trying to soak up as much as I possibly can from the smartest people in my world. So yeah, it feels overwhelming at times. There's a lot going on. I did quickly want to, I know you said you're a list person, so I thought there was a couple things I wanted to share before I forget. One was, I can't remember the name of the book, but it talked about the 4 quadrants of how to do stuff. So like the first quadrant is it's important to do and it's urgent. The second quadrant is it's important to do, but it's not urgent. The third quadrant is it's not important to do, but it is urgent. And the fourth one is it's not important and it's not urgent, which means you just don't even do it. So when you're looking at your day, like I'm pretty old school too. Like I've got text messages, I've got emails, I've got reminders in my phone, I've got DMs, I've got a bunch of things floating around on note papers. Every day I just spend 10 or 15 minutes looking at all my like to-dos, and I compile them onto one list of things that I know I got to do before I leave the office. And then all the other stuff that I could focus on the next day or later, so that I don't have to freak out about not getting stuff done, because I know the stuff that's on the important and urgent list they're non-negotiable. So that's one thing for intention. Second of all, just going back to the door knocking, I highly recommend the buddy system. I've door knocked before. It's painful by myself. It's absolutely painful. Door knocking with Ryan is borderline fun. Like door knocking is not fun, but doing it with Ryan is fun. We get yelled at together. We win together. We role play in between houses together. How could we have handled that objection differently? There's a lot of things we do. We come back, we talk about the note card together. How are we going to write it? Like it just, 2 brains are way better than 1. Right. And so keeping each other accountable. There have been days I don't want to do it. Ask him. I'm like, dude, should we just like, I'm literally reaching for anything to not do it. I'm like, yo, bro, I see some clouds out there. I feel like it's going to rain today. Maybe we shouldn't go out there. He's like, dude, we'll go out there. And if it sprinkles, then we'll figure it out. But I think we're good. And I'm like, all right, he called me on my bluff. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know, and then I go out there. It's kind of like the gym, right? Like a lot of people don't want to go to the gym. Most people don't want to go to the gym. But then when you go to the gym and you're leaving the gym and you did a great workout, don't you feel infinitely better about yourself and the decisions that you made? You feel more confident all day because you did something good for yourself. This is the same thing. You're doing something good for your business. And a lot of people think, what's the worst case scenario? We always want to think about like, who's going to yell at me? How mean are they going to be? But no one ever thinks about the best case scenario.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what's fun and exciting for us is like, we're
That
not
hasn't
going to
happened yet.
Yeah.
It still hasn't happened
But
yet.
you said
So-
the word yet, right? We never know.
Right.
It could happen
Every
this
day
this
you
week.
go out, it could be the day. You never know.
It might be Thursday.
It
yeah,
might be.
It might be Thursday. So actually, you can't go this Thursday. Yes,
We're gonna have to go
we're
Friday.
going to go on
But
Friday.
that's the other thing too. If we don't do it, we move the schedule around and go a different day.
We're committed. Yeah.
But it happens every week.
It happens every week.
Love
And
it.
hopefully it happens multiple times per week if I can get
Yep.
my way. Because I actually enjoy, like, as a real estate agent, as a great real estate agent, most of us should want to not be in the office, right? Like you're either with buyers showing property, you're either meeting with sellers, talking about listings, You're previewing properties for your buyers. You're previewing properties to see the inventory. You're door knocking. You're out networking. Like being in the office doesn't necessarily make you money unless you're making phone calls. If you're sitting in the office doing admin work to avoid the real work, you need to reevaluate what your goals are and why you have those goals so you can get to them.
That's like, we could have practiced this before because you're segueing right into my next thing, is being focused on your goals and being focused. So just having those goals, but no real clear pathway to get there, that's not being intentional. So going back to open houses, like, we always say, why do you do a open house? What is the answer? Why are you holding an open house? Anyone? Peter, why do you have an open house?
To get a listing.
To get a listing, right?
Okay, let's get right to it.
Yeah. So what are you doing to get that listing? Right? Be intentional and be focused on that goal of getting the listing. So you're going to do what, Peter?
You're going to show the local sellers how you do it when you go door knocking before the open house, how your presentation is, how you greet your buyers as they come in, your presentation at the open house, just so that way they could see how you operate if they're interviewing agents, basically by going to their open house to see what they do.
Okay, great. So you do all of those things, you invite them to the open house, then what do you do?
Then you got to make sure you know your crap, you show up early, you're ready to go, and you're putting on the full show, basically as if you're going into an interview.
And then after the open house, what do we do?
You're supposed to go out and then update all the neighbors. Hey, we had this many visitors, we have this many offers. Follow up after the weekend of the open house and inform them we have 17 offers on this property, blah, 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 and explain all that.
Awesome. So when you're
And then just
focused
hope.
on that goal of getting a listing from that open house, you know the steps that you have to take, right?
Right.
So then once you know those steps, what do you do?
You're supposed to take them.
Right. And what's holding you back from not taking those steps?
All the BS excuses that we feed ourselves to believe that we're too busy to do it.
That it's too cold in the morning. I can't door knock in the morning. It's too cold. It's too hot in the afternoon, right? Or I have this, and this that I need to do, right? So we need to be intentional and we need to be focused on those goals. One last thing before we end, so I can let you guys go on time. When you're being intentional, you're not just checking the box. You're doing everything with a purpose, right? So when we're asking you, oh, hey, you have too many leads, or you have so many leads that need to be followed up with. Doing hey, Ryan, are you still thinking of selling this year? That's not intentional. That's just checking a box, right? Or hey, Peter, are you still thinking of buying this year? What's a better way to do that that's more intentional?
Send them a property maybe that just popped on the market. Send them a market update and ask them a question to give value and see if you can engage.
Yep, always sending value. What just happened last week with interest rates for all your buyers on the fence? Hey,
Bumped
Zoe,
up.
I know you guys are thinking of buying in the next little bit, but did you see what happened with the Fed and with interest rates? Is there a time that you're available either this afternoon or sometime this week that we could get together, put together a game plan, maybe give you some scenarios, get you in touch with that lender? Being intentional. What do I want Zoe to do? I want him to buy a house. How, so I'm providing him with value, not just, are you guys still thinking of buying? And there I checked the box so that Rochelle's not mad and turns me off of leads. The whole purpose of following up and doing those things is so that you can move the person further along in their path to home ownership or to selling their homes. So as you're doing that this week, anything that you're doing, I'm giving you this challenge, do it with intent. Think of it, like I'm going out to door knock this afternoon. What is my intent? Is it to just get in my steps for the day? And that's fine if that's what your intent is, but make sure that you're doing it with purpose and with intent. Robert, do you guys have anything else to add? Thank you so much. Oh, and Ryan, congratulations, 2 girls.
Yeah, 2 girls.
Good, congratulations and good luck.
Yeah, I have 3 girls, but not at the same time. So
Yeah, it's always fun.
That's exciting.
I think I got everything out.
Yeah.
I feel like it was simple and straight to the point. I think it's execution. Intention and execution is
Yep.
where it happens.
Yep. Absolutely, I agree.
Sorry, just
Right.
to hit on that point, there was one thing that I used to do really well when I first got into real estate. And now I just, I feed myself that I'm too busy, but it was a thing to make it a goal to learn at least 1 to 3 things about a client. So that way my follow-up is based around that, right? So Ryan, last time I spoke with him, we're having a gender reveal, we're expecting twins. We're still going to find out what we're going to have. I could follow up with him. Hey, I know you mentioned you're going to check in and see what you're having. What'd you find out? It says 2 girls. Great. When is the due date? Follow up with him based on those points.
Mhm.
And then that way it just clicks a little bit better. That client sticks to you a little bit better and it's more personal.
Love it.
It's great advice. Yeah, I used to, and I haven't said this in a while, but I used to tell everyone on my team, the goal of making phone calls or prospecting in general isn't necessarily to get that person to say, yes, I'm ready to transact. It's more about finding a good reason to call them back. And so like your conversation isn't necessarily to get them to say I'm ready to sign, but your job is to get them to give you 1 or 2 or 3 pieces of information so that next time you call them, you can show them that you were listening.
Yep.
I love that. And that goes with a couple of weeks ago when Nazar was talking about being curious and asking those questions.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love it. All right. Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
All right, you guys, you're welcome.
guys.
Thank you for the chance to talk.
Yeah. Anytime. All
Bye.
right. I'll talk to
See
you
you
guys
guys.
later.
All right, guys.
Bye.